For a long time, I didn't realize I was grieving. I knew I was hurting. I knew I was frustrated. I knew I was angry about some of the things that pain had taken away. But grieving took me a long time to understand that we can also grieve the life we thought we were going to have. Maybe even the person we remember ourselves being. You might notice in our studio today that I'm standing. I started having some back spasms before filming, so we had to pivot. That's not part of the life I was planning to have, but it happened. And if you're living with chronic pain and you've ever found yourself thinking, I just want my old life back, I want to talk about that today. Because sometimes we need to grieve what we've lost before we can begin building a life from where we are now. I'm joined today by my husband and colleague, Jim Murphy, a medical family therapist with my coaching and counseling practice.
Yeah, and grief doesn't mean that you're giving up, right? I mean, in fact, it's one of the most important things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, because grieving what used to be and having hope for the future, they're really not opposites. They can happen together. So when we talk about chronic pain, we usually talk about the pain itself. Like, where does it hurt? Or what treatment are you trying? Or what did the MRI show? But there's another part of chronic pain that doesn't show up on the MRI. Loss.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe people have lost the ability to work the way they once did. Maybe they can't participate in some activities they loved. Maybe their independence has changed, right? Maybe they don't sleep the same way they used to.
Yeah.
Maybe they miss spontaneity, just being able to say, sure, let's go, without first wondering, is my body going to allow this?
Ooh, yeah. You know, that's something that we dealt with in your 21 years of unmanaged chronic pain, right? Is the spontaneity kind of went out the window.
That's right. Yeah. So I grieved a lot of things that I used to be able to do. The person that didn't have to focus on pain all the time. It was a time of grief.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes people don't recognize that those things as a loss. I mean, there's no funeral, there's no sympathy cards. Yeah. Nobody necessarily says, "Oh, you've lost something important. How are you doing?" Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times people can end up grieving something really significant without other people even having a clue that they're grieving.
That's so true. Yeah. And another thing, sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to call it grief. We think, well, other people have it worse, or I should just be thankful. I really know. I just need to be thankful. And you know how strongly I believe in gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But gratitude doesn't require us to pretend that we haven't lost anything. I can be thankful and still grieve.
Ooh.
I can even have hope and still grieve.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. You know, there are certainly times when I wanted my old life back, and you know that. Yeah, I didn't want a new strategy or somebody telling me what I could do differently. I wanted my life back. And maybe that's where others are today. If it is, I don't want them to have to rush past that. You know, sometimes encouragement can become another way of telling someone, come on, just move on, look at the bright side. That's not actually what we're doing here today.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, sometimes we need somebody willing to sit with us and say, yeah, you lost something that really mattered.
And as a spouse of someone who lived with unmanaged pain for many years, I mean, there was grief for me too. I mean, that's something that we don't talk about very often.
Right.
When someone develops chronic pain, the whole family, I mean, they can experience a lot of changes. Yeah. I mean, plans change, roles can change,
right.
Expectations. I mean, there can be a lot of grief on both sides.
Right. Yeah, that's really important because chronic pain doesn't happen in isolation, does it?
No.
And recognizing those losses doesn't mean that we're blaming the person in pain. It just means we're being honest about the situation we're in. So here's a thought that helped me. Grief often can highlight something that was important to us. Okay, so for example, if I grieve an activity that I can't do anymore, it's likely that that activity gave me joy.
Ooh, okay.
Right? Or if I grieve changes in my ability, maybe my abilities gave me purpose, right?
Okay.
So instead of only asking, how do I make this grief go away?
Which is a common question.
Absolutely.
How do I make this grief go away because I don't like it?
That's right. We might ask instead, what does this grief tell me about what's important to me? And that's really a different question, isn't it?
It really is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because grief can tell us something about our values.
Right.
Right? I mean, maybe what we miss isn't just the activity itself. Maybe we miss what the activity gives us.
Right.
I mean, we talk a little bit more about values itself in the video, Does Life Matter Anymore?
Okay, right. And this is where I think we can find some hope, because I might not be able to have things exactly as they were, at least for now. But maybe I can begin asking, is there another way to bring some of what mattered back into my life? Maybe not the same way, right? And not pretending that things haven't changed, but differently. And that brings us to something I think is important, because for a long time I thought I only had two choices: either get my life back, my old life back, or settle for something less.
Kind of a little bit of black and white thinking.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. But it turns out there is actually another possibility.
Ooh, there often is.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's right, because grief and hope, as I talked about a while ago, can exist together. Okay? So I can say, I deeply miss what I used to have. But I can also say, I want to discover what's still possible for me. And those statements don't contradict each other, do they?
Yeah, I think that's important, right? Because you can honor what mattered without requiring that your future look exactly like your past.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you can honor the life you had without giving up on the life you still have. And that might be one of the biggest lessons with grief. Yeah, and there's something else I want to say, and that's I don't want our viewers to turn this into another assignment that they have to do correctly.
Oh, that never happens.
Yes,
I mean,
one more thing we have to do.
We might have some perfectionists and get it all done right kind of viewers,
and
right?
I know, because I'm one of those. Yeah.
You're really good at that, Debbie.
I'm really good at that. Yes, I'm a very perfect perfectionist.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Yeah. No, grief is not a checklist.
Oh.
And there's not a deadline. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and say, okay, I've grieved. What's next? Although a lot of us would like to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some days you might feel hopeful, but other days something reminds you of what you've lost, and it hurts all over again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing about grief. There's not a straight line path.
Yeah.
Right?
And that doesn't mean you're going backward, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You know, it actually means, as we've talked about, it means that something mattered to you.
Yes, and you've lost that.
That's right. Yeah.
For now.
For now.
Grief doesn't move in a straight line. I mean, sometimes people expect themselves to steadily feel better and better and better, right? But one of my favorite authors regarding grief is Bob Dietz, and he's got a book called Life After Loss. And he says a whole bunch of profound things in his book about grief. Two of the things he says the only way through grief is through it. The only way through it is through it. And that is a personal thing, right? It's not a formula, as you talked about. The other thing that Bob Dietz says, and I think this has to kind of soak in a little bit.
Okay.
But he says you can't speed grief up. You can only slow it down.
Okay.
Yeah, meaning we try to speed it up. We try to get through it, right?
Yeah.
But in trying to speed it up, we actually slow it down.
Yeah,
so
I've experienced that.
Absolutely. So there's some real wisdom in there regarding grief. We just have to let it take its pace at the right pace. It's got to go the path that it needs to go.
And you know, chronic pain can be just as messy as grief in terms of trying to figure all of that out. So maybe we should offer ourselves some grace, right? And some self-compassion. Here's what I want to leave people with.
Okay.
Some hope.
Hope.
Okay? Yeah.
We love hope.
Yeah. Because I don't believe that honoring grief means we have to live by only looking backward.
Okay.
eventually we can begin turning our attention toward the question, what can my life still hold? Maybe what we miss most is being useful. How can we still find ways to contribute? Maybe we miss adventure. How might adventure look different now in our lives? Maybe we miss movement. How can we find some creative ways to move in our current situation?
Creativity. I think creativity goes out the window when pain shows up, right? But it's so important.
Yeah. We can find good ways to do a variety of things using that creativity, right?
Right.
Yeah. And another way we can use that is if we miss joy. And as we talked about recently, we don't have to wait until the pain is gone to allow joy back in. It's not about replacing what we've lost, right? Some things just can't be replaced, but it's about discovering that loss doesn't get the last word. So if you've been grieving something that chronic pain has changed in your life, I hope you won't rush yourself past it. Maybe today you simply name it. I miss working, or I miss traveling. I miss being spontaneous or feeling independent. Whatever it is, you don't have to immediately fix it. You can recognize that mattered to me and I miss it. And then when you're ready, perhaps there's another question. What did that part of my life give me? And is there a new way I can begin finding some of that again? Maybe not all of it, but maybe one little piece of it.
Yeah, and you can miss what was and still be curious and creative about what could be.
That's so true, yes. And you can grieve and be grateful. You can hurt and experience joy. You can miss your old life, but begin building a meaningful life today. Both can be true. So maybe that's where we leave you today. You don't have to choose between honoring what you've lost and hoping for what comes next. There's room for both. And if today's a grieving day, be gentle with yourself. And if today's a hopeful day, let yourself enjoy it. And if it's a little bit of both, well, that sounds pretty normal to me.
If you have comments or questions about what we talked about today, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And you might want to take a look at this video next.
Thank you for spending this time with us. We'll see you next week. And remember, your pain is real, there is hope, and our goal is for you to have your pain in the rear view.